Hello, everyone. It is Matthew. It is July the 19th, and let's just get right into it. I think some interesting things are going to be happening this week in the markets. Let's have a quick peek over here at Forex Factory. I have it set up on the day. It's Sunday. Nothing really going on for that day. And then tomorrow, there's not much to really watch out for until 8:30 at night, some red flag and orange flag news. These times are, of course, my local time, and I am GMT -6. Okay, so if we have a quick look here, this is the US dollar index. I left the flag here. We talked about this trend line and how things kept getting rejected, and we just kept sinking lower. And here is obviously a support level that is falling in line with where price is now. And so what I just want to do is move this down to here because that's going to be something we're going to look at later. So at this point, let's see what the indicator's saying. All right, nothing jumping at us there. I would see a little bit of dollar weakness at this point. This is on the 4-hour, and we've dropped down. We've shown these kind of engulfing candles. We've shown this weakness, and now we're showing, even in this small little area, we're showing higher lows and that sort of thing. So, you can already see it kind of lifting up and pushing forward. I think the strength is there. I'm also short the US or the odd US dollar. That was a trade we took last week that kept working, and we'll get to that in a minute. So at this point in time, that would be my analysis. It sold off quite a bit, and I just believe that while I do see further downside, I don't think it's going to drop through this level without at least a reaction up and then further downside. So let's leave the chart where it is. Let's leave the fact that we've highlighted this area. We have this start of the week mention, and maybe we could even do on a 6-hour. Yeah, often the red is to me selling pressure, and there's just none of that yet. So all right, well, let's move on because we'll get a better idea with the other charts. Now, this was an interesting chart because we kept talking about the euro US dollar, and I had these highlighted saying this flag was just not complete to me, but now it is. So over the last several days, we had that run up. We have this candle here showing. We've gone sideways for a couple days, but I think we're going to pull down a little bit further, and I'll mark that on the chart. This isn't, I'm not sure where I'd be going from there. I'm just going to say we're going to break, but we've had the run up. We're reaching into that previous resistance zone, and I believe we'll break. But I want to see the pullback first, and then I will start even looking for reasons to long or short, and then we just go from there. So to me, we are now getting these conditions that we were looking out for and are time-stamped and are on YouTube of price that really, I probably even used the term needed to come up to here before we could get any clear direction. And I believe that to be the case. Whether it's rejected or breaks through, we are armed with information that we are making a decision to long the US dollar. And maybe we need a bit more signal, but I think you start to see what we're talking about here, that we get these retests of the area, and I think it's poised for downside. I really do, and I'm in this trade. I'm in it in the odd USD, and we'll get to that in a minute. So there's that US dollar strength coming back. I am currently, I've been pretty vocal in the gold and silver, and I'm not in any of those positions right now. Took a couple bucks out of the market last week in silver, but I just think it's not. I don't know. I just didn't want. I'll wait till we get there, but I just didn't want to hold that over the weekend. So I took my couple dollars and ran away. And yeah, so we have this double in the daily. We can start back on. We have this double bottoming that's happened, and then you have, if you look at it, you have price in a sense where it just keeps banging against this area. So let's see what happens. I'm sure if I fibbed from the bottom here to the top there, you could easily find some reason. Oh, look at that. It's, didn't break below the 61.8, found support there, and now we're moving up. So we'll see what happens. Because the US dollar yen is negatively correlated to gold, I'm kind of not sure what to do because I am so bullish gold. But saying that, I'm being clear, full disclosure, I'm not currently in a long. I just keep trying to find those opportunities to jump in. So let's see. Lots of lines on this one. So now we're speaking to the US dollar. We think we'll see US dollar strength. We've had the price break through these trend lines and then it's getting rejected here. You can see that it's getting beaten back by this daily 200, how price was rejected at this previous area of resistance. You can see that it's being pushed down, and as it's trying to come back up, it's failing to break that level. And so I wouldn't be jumping into any trades with any great deal of confidence there, but it starts helping you form a picture. And you can see where I start throwing trend lines on. You can see I'm discovering areas of resistance and carrying them forward. So yeah, it's an interesting chart. I'm not in the position, and let's move on. Oh, let me just show you kind of a nice. This was something we traded, and working with a few students, some private guys as well, that we called this. This was an interesting one. I'm going to actually get rid of this. This is always a distraction for me. This is an interesting level because maybe it was on the 4 hours a little more. Yeah, so this one here we chatted about in the public group. Maybe I believe this was a private group, and because the odd USD was only in the private group. So this level here, I said we're not going to trade that. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe that this run up, and then we had this one beautiful textbook candle, and I said when this happened, I would not short this. We've had the 1, we've had the 2, we've had a 3, and now we have this other test, and so I didn't believe in its ability to be a full rejection. Great trade. It's a clear, beautiful range trade here. Japanese call it, it's in a box. But we had the break, and this is a 4-hour candle, so this took several hours, but it broke, tested this, and then was strongly rejected with this bearish candle and engulfed it. And so that was, to me, after I said, let's not trade it because of this, I don't believe it, it did clear, it broke through, and then we had that other signal. And so then I posted it, said, I'm now trading this. And we took the trade. And, it's one of those trades. Let's see even if we can just run this for the sake of argument. Okay, so if we had used that trade that I was already in it anyways, but if we'd used that 50% fib entry, we wouldn't have gotten there. We would have just barely missed it. Moving down with our fib. Arguably, you would have triggered it on that one if you kept following it down with your fib. It would have been an interesting discussion of when you caught that move. But anyways, so just as a discussion here. I did trade this, and I noticed that as it dropped down, I found you can see it dropping strongly, beautiful. As we dropped down, I saw this beautiful head and shoulders pattern. We did break through. Is it the same? In a head and shoulders pattern, what you're going to do is you're going to take your measure tool and measure to the shallow part of the head. Everything is so subjectable. Is it there or is it there? I would say it's there. For me personally, that's great. 24, and if you project down, you can see that you would have played that absolutely perfectly. Now, I believe there's more downside to it, and so I was in, I was out, I was in, and I held it over the weekend because I just believe in this trade. And so you can see that that was a beautifully fulfilled head and shoulders trade. And I know it's an hour chart. Often hourly charts are highly watched, but when you start building, you can see that these are many different bars, many different hours moving into this side as well. So you can measure that as well, how many bars you're going across. But that is what that trade represented to me. And then there was further downside, and we just kept getting these dumps. So people are into it. People are seeing the short. I don't know exactly where we're going to go from here, but I believe it broke out and then quickly tucked itself back in, and we're retesting this trend line here. And so I think I'm short, and I've made that clear. I'm short, and it was a timestamp trade in our private group only, I believe. So things, we had this arrow and it did eventually go up, but trying to time it is obviously always the art to this. And that's where I know you guys hate getting washed out, and so do I, but it's part of it. And you have to just believe that you have to allow your stops to get hit. You're taking good trades at good areas, and you just have to play this as the large sample set of data that it is, that over time you will be a victor, dealing with the markets in a professional manner. So that's what I saw. I saw this sell-off just kept happening, and we're in that zone, and I think, I am exposed currently to the US dollar. I'm shorting it, pardon me, longing it, but I'm using the vehicle of the odd USD to short it, and that is my idea. If I'm wrong, I am wrong, and I don't get too stressed out about it. So let's move on. I'm gonna, something like this where, um, I believe you could take this trade here. I believe you could. It's had quite a large sell-off. This candle closes, it's on a 6 hour. Let's maybe move down to something a little more. In 2.5 hours, this candle closes. It'd be interesting to see what it does. And don't be afraid of missing a trade. It's going to be it's going to be a swing trade. Is it going to start finding its bottom, its base there? Interesting to know. But clearly, if you look down, you can see that there's more room for it to go. So jumping into trades right now, I don't think you need to. I wouldn't be chasing anything. It's early in the week. Let's see what happens. This is a very interesting time to be trading. And, I know in my own professional journey, I will reflect upon this and where Tesla's been and how Tesla's being traded. Successfully shorted last week, and and it's a really crazy time to be in financial markets, but that is what a textbook definition of a bubble looks like. So just warning everyone I know some people in this, and not so much in the private group, but I know some guys that can really get into gambling, and I want to be the sound voice of that. That if you're going to be gambling, then you have no business being here. Go to the casino. Call it what it is. If you want to be the casino, roll out over time a statistical edge with markets using good risk management, because there'll be times that absolute Hail Marys, Hail Marys get tossed in there. And while I don't want to say trading is gambling by any means, it can be, and you can utilize it that way. But it's so analogous of like a roulette wheel, where you get these random patterns of blacks and random patterns of reds, but you get clustering. And in statistics, going from heads to tails, you get clustering of heads and of tails. And so if we look at those heads and tails as our wins and losses, we look at those two green spots as our absolute holy crap, what just happened, events in the market. And if you use proper risk management, no matter how those what the heck happened, you will at least live to trade another day. And that's an important fact. There's been times where I've really been beat up and made foolish decisions, almost always my fault. Of course, it's all my fault, but I mean, where I wasn't part of some anomaly in my software. And at the end of the day, I've been able to crawl back out of that because I use risk management, or something went terribly wrong and I just ate it and I just took it so hard on the chin. And but over weeks, sometimes even months, I was able to climb back out of that. And that is the important factor, that you are not immune. You decide to play this game, you are in it. And if you're willing to ride the waves of pain every once in a while for the reward that this craft can provide you, then you're on your way. So I'm just looking at this a little pump your tires there for a minute. I'm looking at this and I see price kind of rolling over, but I also see this head and shoulders pattern. I don't know if you see that. So just as an interesting note, just as we're looking at technicals, we're finding patterns. We've had things come up. We've had price break, and interesting, this is a flag. We're on the daily now, if you look at that. So it's these interesting things that I like to look at just to see how I can become more proficient in technical analysis. And yeah, I don't know. We'll see what we end up with. I'm not in the trade anyways. It could just fully dump off because you're getting this. But that is an interesting area. Just wanted to show you that as I was sitting here rambling about, excuse me, what I go on about. But let's move on. So the US dollar, I believe, is going to break upwards, talking about a flag. Like, I don't know. Do you get anything cuter? Do you get any, kind of the worst? I wouldn't mind a touch screen panel to do this with my mouse. It just doesn't often cut it. But, we get a very strong rejection, very strong bounce off of that 1.35 level. You know what? I'm cool with a little bit of a sell-off in the U.S. CAD. I'll be honest with you. This pair matters to me. So we've hit this support level, and now I think looking at this, we've had this kind of double bottoming, and I think oil is going to pull back this week or next week. So these are maybe like a bit of an early indicator for us, really just slamming lines everywhere. But we are, in my opinion, we're looking, kind of live as I'm breaking this down. We're looking at interesting areas. We're looking at flags. I believe further upside. I'm going to make that at least to here. This is a 4-hour chart, so at least to the 200 EMA, at least to this level here. That's what I think. I don't think I'm going to trade this at this point. I'm just going to take it easy. It's Sunday night, but yeah, that's kind of what I see. Anyways, moving on. So let's see what the markets have for us. So this one was the Eurocad trade that we had last week, or it was over in this area, and really an amazing trade. It worked out beautifully, and yeah, like what a dump, what a beautiful dump. And I know some of you guys got a little concerned because it kept going up, I believe. But we got in there. I think we got taken out once. I can't remember, and then we made it back, and that's all we can do. So we're back at this level. There's been that sell-off, and I think I'm still in this trade. So we've had that sell-off, and we'll see what happens. I'd like to try to get to break even here. It did this while my spread was ridiculous, so I hope that hasn't kind of triggered enough orders to have a run up and we're out of here. But I'm going to be going to break even or just taking a small amount of profit right now. But you can see it is selling off perfect. I have my stop just above here, and let's ease into the markets here. Nothing jumping out at me. Let's wait. Let's just wait. That's my message for this week. Let's just wait. Let's just ease into it. The euro yen, let's see what this, you can see you've got this divergence happening. You've got two bear signals that have fired here. The euro yen, I think I scalped it last week. I cannot remember, but something like this is looking ripe for a scalp. I'd like to see it a little bit higher towards that pivot. And let's look left and see what we're looking at here, if there's anything exciting. You've got this sell-off here, then it's pulling back down, and yeah, you see what I'm saying here. And I know this can get really confusing, but you've had a break above areas and strong rejections downward, bounces. Are we going down, or is this a takeoff? With the strength in the euro or strength in the dollar, which is what I do think is going to be happening this week, and when I have a clearer picture, I'll share that in the groups. But yeah, that's what I think we're on for at this point in the game, which would drive the euro down, and always just as a speaking point, because we're now pairing it with the yen. So, I don't know. Am I jumping in on this one right now? Another bear signal there. It'd be interesting to see what this candle does in 2 hours. This is a 6-hour candle. I've been using the 6 and 12 just because I find so many times you go from daily to 4 hour. It's like, well, what happened to the rest of it? And so I've just been testing it, on our mission to become as good as we possibly can at this and profit and do well for ourselves and our families. Just always trialing new things, new techniques, all that sort of stuff. So the euro pound, another beautiful head and shoulders executed. We never got there. I had my things from last week saying let's get here. We never did, and just so yeah. I don't know. I'm just going to sit on things right now. The pound, I think, is on a downward spiral, and these sort of patterns here. This pattern in particular, as I sit here with you doing the analysis, I quickly breeze through it before I end up um, going live. And so I'm just looking at this as I'm sitting with you on the video, and something like this, if it starts to really show a lot of support, which a tweezer bottom at a Fibonacci level after a strong run up, pull back, and then it's showing that could very much be a end of a run. You're getting the blues. You're getting in the indicator where that buying pressure is coming in, and this is something that we should be watching. And I'm gonna throw that on red. That's usually my I'm watching level. And you've had such a strong breakthrough. No one's arguing. You've had this run up. There's that pullback again. A little bit of support. We've had the run up. There's a pullback again. And are we off to the races? I know it's sort of fairly cluttered. It's not the worst spot to put it, but yeah, interesting. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to see what the market's telling me. I don't have to get into this. I don't care about getting into it. I'm just going to wait and see what the market's doing here. So let's go back to the daily. Yeah, this was just the old meanderer. That's been how many days that was going back the beginning of June. And we have yet to have this, apparent launching of price that I was anticipating. I like to leave those annotations on the chart. Yeah, we had this breakdown below. There's nothing telling me to go long or short. If I had a gun to my head, I'd be short. But I don't know. If it doesn't jump out at me, I just move on. There's too many charts, too many opportunities to get too excited about. You've had this strong run through. This anything looks like a flag to me. And I was saying that, let's pop that there. But I was saying it just looks like weakness. It looks like it's rolling over to me. So I think a little more downside with this one. But I don't see an entry that I am excited about. It is a beautiful flag. I'd want it to come up a little bit further before I got down into it. And you can see how I'm just slowly inching my way down. Some of these trends have been moving fast, so that 38.2 level, which, there you go, guys. They're like kissed, absolutely just delicately kissed by price. And, we're not going to find these things. They are finding us. And this is what I'm talking about. So I would say at least in this trade to this level, and some guys use, so we're going from dailies to 15 minutes, and you can see that this is at least going to this level here. I'm not going to trade it. I'm just going to let that continue on. We'll see what happens. It's exciting as we play and trade these markets. So yeah, just like what is that? What has happened to price at such an interesting level in the markets that it gives you days upon days. Like you get these days where things are selling off, and then you get these consolidation days where nothing is happening. These diminutive little dojis, hammers, high waves, spinning tops. Like you just get this like, what are we doing, guys? No one knows. No one has any idea. And so, yeah, I'm not touching that until we get something a little more clear. And yeah, so this Australian Cad Pair, this is hilarious. Like yet again, these wildly interesting trends of just meandering. That's I don't know what you would call it. So I think things are coiled. I think there's opportunities. I'm not rushing into them. Um, we're going to keep moving forward. I'm going to do gold here in a second. I'm always breaking down stuff. This was a pair. We didn't trade it, but that was the we traded that beautifully, and then it just became noise. So I'm moving on. I'm waiting. I'm sitting on my hands. I'll start dumping trade ideas into the groups. I really thought I got to give this an evaluation because I think my personal run is over with this pair. If you guys remember, I I called this candle very clearly, and this was a shooting star on a weekly chart, and we got the sell-off. It came back, retested the 200 EMA, failed to close above it, and then it just had this beautiful runoff. But now it is starting to find support, and the support is concerning me because I am short. But should I just take my profits or let it run? I thought we would have gone a little deeper. You can see I have the I have the alert even set. I thought we'd have gone a little deeper to that 50% fib level, but that's a really strong one. It's a arguable fib level. You can see the EMAs down there, and we're going to start chomping down in the time frames here. But you can see that it's now really shown support, and it didn't rush down. Here it rushed up, but it hasn't exactly rushed anywhere downward. So I think what we personally have going on here is this is null and void. This arrow, I think we are in a position here where we're going to be looking at flags, and we are. I think I should just take my profits and get out of there, and that's what I think I might have to do. Now, there's been a few whipsaws in the market, so I might be wrong, but it had a nice run down. I thought we would have had a little something and then carried on. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my stops just above here. If we have a breakout, done, but at least it helps us if we do happen to start chewing downward into our the direction of our desire. And yeah, it's a shame to see because we were into some good profits, but we have to give some of it back to the market, and that's fine. We'll move on. Yeah, I don't know. This Bitcoin can do its thing. Not long, not in anything. I called the long here. I know there's a lot going on here. This is craziness. I'm just going to delete all this garbage. A lot of times I work with guys and I help them analyze things, and we put some ideas together on paper, and we screen share and stuff. It's a service I offer. It's not expensive. Having someone explain to you, on your charts and your charting software, help you clean up your indicators. That's simple. And so let's see. On the daily, yet again meandering, but you can see if you see, like, I'm not in this, but here's your double bottom. Here's where we talked about getting in. It's broken this trend line, but you get these long wicks where it's dipped its toes. Now it can always break. It can do anything. It's Bitcoin. It can do anything. So I don't know. I'm just going to hang on for now. I don't often trade it anyways. I find the exposure just simply not worth it. Why trade something that does 40% swings in 10 minutes? Like, it's just not worth it. And I know some guys don't even use stops, and it's like, oh, I'll get out when I see it. And if you opened up your software, a little psychology tip, if you don't use a stop, say you 1 or 2% of your portfolio, some guys I know use 1/4%, 0.5%, whatever, of risk, what they're willing to risk. And if you just, at 10,000, I'm out, no problem. And let's say you weren't watching the markets and you opened up your console and price had kind of done this, and it's blown through that level, and you are now up in the 12,000 level, and you are now seeing, a much larger percentage of what you thought you would lose being lost. It will be an interesting psychological event if you are able to simply take your loss. Most guys, when they see that, would say, okay, it has to come down. And as they are watching it go further against them. And so you get to this position where now you are crippled with fear. You're in a fight or flight environment, so you cannot make rational decisions. That is scientifically proven. You are incapable of functioning as a proper risk manager. And so you are now watching losses compounding when all you should be doing is closing the position, closing your computer, walking away, cooling off, and coming back at another time. But so that's I'm such a huge promoter of a fixed stop. Don't touch it. Use it, and you can always live to see another day, which we've talked about earlier on in this video. Just trying to drop some of those psychology nuggets out there. I know we don't have a ton of followers, but the followers that we do have are really vocal and they're really appreciative. So that's my currency, guys. I'm really enjoying this journey. I want you're putting yourself out there. Not that I mean in any kind of an ego way, but it helps me level up. It helps me make sure that my analysis is more timely. It helps me be more clear with my analysis and make sure I'm waiting for those better trades. But this has been, 7-8 weeks, so almost 2 months of live trade ideas. And I'm really enjoying it. And I know I can always improve. And if you think you're a gangster who knows how to trade crypto, you're a crypto king, crypto queen, power to you, pal. But we are watching live trade ideas unfold. You're seeing that we are wrong sometimes. You're seeing that we're right more than wrong, and we have a winning system here. So if you can just keep your head on your shoulders, keep seeing this like the job that it is, the profession that it is, you can really define your future for yourself, your family, and ideally future generations. This job is a job, but the thing that gets most people is its ease of acquisition. There's no barrier to entry. You just pull out your credit card that is maxed and you toss $500 onto it and you go play the market how much 500 times you leverage, 400 times leverage, do whatever you want. So that's where most people falter. And if you get through all that, you do all your homework, you can actually start winning in this. So this S&P is, I don't know what to say. It is so shameful what is happening. You guys have heard my rants. You've heard my raves. You don't need me to do it again. I hope this drops and corrects because that's what it needs to do. There is no sense in blowing a bubble up. I could tell you my theories of why they do this, but that is what is happening right now. And it is sad that a lot of people are throwing money on their credit cards, these credit card traders, and it's a big gamble fest. And this is a defined bubble within a pandemic, within a second wave, within a debt crisis, within a recession, I think I already said that, within a housing crisis, within a jobs crisis. I don't know what more you need to hear. This is a absolute ticking time bomb. And we see these events where in a matter of a couple hours, we get these sell-offs. This will happen on this chart soon enough, okay? You will get those crazy sell-offs here, and it will be catastrophic. I am warning you. Sure, we might get back up to there. Sure, we might make new highs, but there is nothing driving this market. And it is built on quantitative easing and printing money. And that is proven to only last for so long. They are devaluing their own currency. We're seeing that happening with the sell-off. We're seeing that with protests in the streets. We're seeing civil war rolling out on the streets of America right now. We're seeing, I'm in Costa Rica, and Costa Rica, AKA what everyone thinks is an island. First of all, it's not. But a lot of people think it's a third world country, and they are opening their borders soon, is their plan. They've been able to keep things low. Everyone wears their masks. There's driving restrictions where certain license plates can't drive certain days, and your license plate, as you try to travel through the country, you will get to an area where your license plate is not allowed to be driving. So it inhibits people from traveling through in their own country. They've been aggressive. They've had some of their complainers about how aggressive Costa Rica has been doing. They don't have the healthcare system to share the burden of how sick people can get, but they're all wearing their masks. You know, every store has put sinks out front, ways to wash your hands. Masks are everywhere. People are wearing them. No one's messing around. But I find it so interesting that they are opening their borders to only Canadians and Europeans. And I just think, wow, I don't really care about Trump. I don't care for Trump. He's not an example of an adult male that I think anyone should be looking up to. I don't care about politics very much, but I do get excited that making America great again. And I think if you looked at the body of evidence of how sad and polarized and deplorable the situation is, and how divided colors are, and how everything is so sad right now, and it really is. It saddens me that that's all people are talking about is it's just people are just angry. I find it interesting. I'm kind of rambling on here, but it's talking about making America great again. You have civil wars in the streets. You have racial divide, like just just terrible. And there's no right or there's no wrong. It's everyone is angry. People are out of work. This second wave is coming, and you can sit there and argue the efficacy of a mask, but just put it on and be respectful to the person next to you, and we'll all get out of this eventually. But there's no eventually if we don't simply take the actions that we need to safeguard ourselves. And I just find it so interesting that countries don't want to even deal with the states anymore. There's warring terminology between so many countries and the states right now, and what has happened, the relations with so many countries and the United States. And I just find it an interesting time to be alive, because this will resonate. This will be a time to take note, to load your positions however you want to trade your accounts. I will be honest with you, I am loading short positions, and I manage a couple accounts, and I'm happy to be wrong for a month or two or three, but in time, these short positions will hit profit at least. And so that's heavy precious metals as well, and we'll just go from there. Anyways, that's my rant, that's my rave. Yeah, look at that, it keeps going up. This is great. Woo, everything's fine. Don't use that. This has done nothing but really show that we can't use this as a proxy for everything being fine, because we know it is not. And you'll get people, these pundits standing there saying, well, it's a forward-looking mechanism, blah, 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 blah. Spew garbage, report because we have to. And that's where technicals came in for me, because I just felt I couldn't rely on anything. I couldn't believe anyone except for the fact of price. So anyways, that's my rant, that's my rave. Really on a soapbox today, guys. And anyways, so oil is an interesting one. It's been coming up. We just looked at the US CAD. We believe that's going up, which would be oil going down. I am short this. I have my stop up here into the 42, 43 area, and we'll see what happens, and we'll just move on. But it is an interesting point that we are now into, I bet, let's find what level this is at. Something to be noted that we have this support or resistance area now that I've laid out on in this green trend line. We have a major sell-off, which we enjoyed. I traded that USO. It was one of my most vilely attacked ideas on on TradingView, and I was pretty proud that I pulled out the profits that I did out of that trade. There was risk involved, but that's the whole game. It's gone a little further, but I sold all my shares, and I didn't even leave anything to run, and I'm happy with where I made my nut on that. So we've had this sell-off, and look at that beauty, and she carried on up, and she hit the 61.8 level, and you can see that it is rejected, weeks upon weeks of rejection. So I think it's fair to say that we would be looking for more downside. And before, or if we break, we have to break and close above this area, and then I'd be looking at a long, and I'd just get out of my positions. But that's what we use risk management for. So that's oil. I really believe you could long gold from here. Um, you know, like gold is telling you the S&P is doing its thing, and all these other things are doing their things, and you can see that we're really having a run up. We've already broken above these levels, closed above these peaks, and we're going up here. We are going up here, that 1900 level, and I think once it's taken out, there's a lot of headroom there. So that's gold, and there's your silver. She's made it to at least that level. I have my alert on. I took, this is a weekly, I'll back that out a little bit. Took some profits last week. I think we're going off. I don't see an entry unless this flag here really starts making Maddie happy, which, kind of, like you have this big run up, you have a flag, and you start seeing these kind of, if I say maybe the next few candles were showing bullish, I might take a trade on that. And you know, I don't want to be seen as kind of coming up with trade ideas here, but I think you can kind of see what I mean here, that this didn't relax a lot, but it could have. Is it am I really scrounging for a head and shoulders there inverse? I think I am, but I could see the flag there. You can see the support happening on various levels. So yeah. Anyways, Hang Seng Index, a trade idea I posted on TradingView, timestamped, and you can see I called this shooting star last week, and we've had nothing but sell-off. And this was I didn't even trade it, but this was a beautiful shooting star at that 61.8 level, at the 200 EMA on a weekly, with now a very strong engulfing pattern on a weekly chart. That's a good luck, pal. And this is the Hong Kong S&P equivalent. And I watch Hong Kong because I find it interesting. I can't believe China did what they did, but at the same time, I can believe they did what they did. We'll see what happens in the coming days. My heart goes out to the Hong Kong people, and I just really I'm blown away. Watch this because this is now becoming a very interesting point to watch. I believe, and I had to take measures to make sure I was hedged, but I believe the peg to the US dollar is going to be removed. I believe that this is going to be turned on its head. That's what I believe. I don't know when that's going to happen. I don't have a trade on, but I don't believe the Hong Kong dollar is going to make it. And so interesting to note, but that is what I am thinking right now. So this is the Japanese index, the Nikkei, and yeah, we'll see what happens. It's making new highs as well. I think there needs to be a little bit of a correction, and we'll see what it does. So anyways, things to look at. I got to go back and revisit this, we'll see what happens. I got to revisit that. What else are we up to? Since we've been blammering on, look at that, beautiful. She's heading south. The Eurocad, she's not doing much, but she isn't breaking upward. The dollar, while we've been talking, has inched forward, maybe. Anyways, this is what we're up to. Let's keep our heads on our shoulders this week. Thank you for tuning in. A little bit of a soapbox preach. I have a bit of energy today. I had a really good sleep last night. And yeah, I wish everyone well. Wear your masks, please, guys. And let's just take care of each other. Let's take care of our accounts. A lot of opportunities always there. We don't need to be in trades all the time, and we'll focus on quality habits that will result in quality results. Thank you, guys.